entire government. And it's the theory that if the government doesn't pursue each crime, then people are not going to have faith in the system. And when people don't have faith in the system, the one thing that all governments fear, one thing that all governments fear, no matter where you are, in Iraq, ISIS fears this, is people taking the law into their own hands. It's called self-help. Governments are instituted for the purpose of convincing the people that they don't have to commit self-help, because if they've been wronged, a government is going to come in and defend them. And that's why when your neighbor does something bad to you, you call the police as opposed to going next door and beating them up. Okay? Do you understand that? Or when a robber takes your stuff and you see it, you call a police officer rather than grabbing them, beating them to a pulp, and then taking your stuff back. That's called self-help, and the government doesn't like that. As a matter of fact, vigilantes, somebody who is a vigilante. Who's a vigilante? Batman's a vigilante. Okay? Which is somebody that takes the law into their own hands, is against the law. It's against the law. Governments don't like that. So in order for you to trust the system, when the law is broken, you're a bystander, you're looking at it. You must see that the government is taking action to correct that, because when it happens to you, you say, the government doesn't do anything, so why am I going to stand by with my arms crossed and do nothing? So the government has a stake in pursuing law enforcement. Now, civil wrongs are the other side. Government's not in the business of collecting money for you. So when you've been wronged and you want to be made whole, which sometimes is possible, sometimes it's not possible. Somebody steals $100 from you, I give you $100 back, you're made whole and you're happy. You may not be happy, but you're the same as you were before you were not whole. But if somebody cuts off your arm by accident, and I give you $100, you got $100, but you don't have your arm back. Sometimes the civil system doesn't work quite well. But the purpose of the civil system to exercise civil actions is to try to put you back into the same situation that you were immediately before this action took place. Okay? So in a RICO place, the government prosecutes, they try to put people in jail. However, at the same time, businesses and people can sue under a theory of RICO and racketeering. Okay? Are you all clear about that? Okay, let's talk about elements again. Elements are part of a cause of action. Let's talk about the simplest torts. Okay? First of all, let's divide the world of torts. And when I use the word torts, do you all understand that I'm talking about civil wrongs? Okay. So, let's do a diagram. You all like diagrams? Yeah. You all like diagrams? We like to see things, right? Yeah. Okay, so, civil and public. We call these torts, we call these crimes. Okay? This is the family of wrongs. Okay? Here in torts, we're going to divide them, and we're going to divide them into two. Number one are torts that are done with intent, and no intent. Torts that are done with intent is somebody wants to do it. Somebody intends to do it. Somebody throws a punch and hits you in the face. Did they intend to do it? Okay. So, throwing a punch and hitting somebody in the face would be a tort that's over here. Okay? Okay? That's called battery. Battery is the wrongful touching. Battery is the wrongful touching. Okay? No intent required. Can anybody give me an example of a civil wrong where no intent is required? And if somebody commits this without intent, you can still sue them. Yes. Okay. Give me a technical word for crash. Well, that's a crash. That's a type of crash, right?
An accident.
An accident is a type of crash. But what is the technical word for that? Starts with the letter N.
Negligence.
Negligence. Okay? Negligence is a civil wrong that does not require intent. As a matter of fact, the major element of it is the lack of intent. Okay? Now, let's talk, this one is the most common tort. You all mentioned it. Somebody hit you in the back, you had a car accident, I was delayed in class this morning because of one of them. Negligence is kind of if I were to take a pie graph and said, okay, of all of the lawsuits that have to do with torts, what is the percentage? And I would say that all of this would be negligence. Negligence. So let's examine what negligence is, because negligence isn't a duck, is it? Or is it? Is negligence a duck? A duck. You know, like Aflac? There's a saying that says if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and tastes like a duck, it must be a... Everybody knows when you see a duck that's a duck, right? Okay. And I know that everybody in this room knows what negligence is when you see it. Right? Somebody is late to class and they're running with their books all over the place and they bump into you. They're negligent, right? They're negligent. And I see this a lot going to work, right? It's the person, and I'm not gonna come down on girls. It's the person who didn't shave and decides that in their way to work, they're gonna do all the grooming, right? And they take their automatic shaver and they're there, and the phone rings, and then the phone falls down. And they're driving, right? And then all of a sudden you look over and you see a hand, but you don't see a driver because this person is reaching down. Right? You've seen that? I've seen that all the time. And they have an accident. Is that negligence? Yeah. Yes, it's negligence. So you see, you know when you see it what negligence is. So let's see what you know. Number one, does negligence require intent? Did that guy want to get into an accident? No. Well, if they wanted to get into an accident, it isn't, for negligence, it isn't necessary that you know. As a matter of fact, when you increase, there's a type of negligence. There's a type of negligence as you mentioned.
So like drunk driving, right?
That's not negligence though. That's not negligence. But there is a type of negligence that says, look, if you knew that there was a great likelihood that your behavior was going to cause an accident, then the punishment, by the way, let me ask you this. Which of these two would you punish more severely? Negligent conduct or intentional conduct? An accident or somebody that punches you in the face? Which is something that you need to know about the law. The more intent, the greater the punishment. The greater the intent, the greater the punishment. If you accidentally took a red light because it was turning yellow and you took a red light and you killed somebody in the intersection, you are going to be given, once you are convicted, less time in jail than somebody who 2 blocks away knew that you were coming and accelerated so that they could hit you in the middle of the intersection. By the way, the outcome is the same, isn't it? Person's still dead. But the punishment is different because punishment is graded on intent, not on an outcome. Okay. So, let's talk about negligence. Number one, negligence requires a duty. A duty. What is a duty? And I'm not talking about the cute word that we tell little kids when they go poop on their pants, right? Oh, he went duty. No, that's not the duty I'm talking about. What is a duty? It's a responsibility. It's a responsibility. Do I have my goaltender in the soccer team in this class? No? You're the goaltender? What's your duty?
I don't know.
If you don't know, then you're not a good goaltender, and I know that you are. What's your duty?
Well, I have a duty.
Your duty is to prevent the ball from going behind you. right? If you let the ball go behind you, what do the rest of the team think? Let's get rid of the chump, right? They're running around, you're just like, standing around, and you have to prevent that ball from going there. That's your duty. Okay? Duty is a responsibility. Okay? It is something, and let's go beyond responsibility. It's something that someone requires you to do, or something that somebody requires you not to do. Okay? A duty can be something that you have to do or something that you are prohibited from doing. Okay? If there's a red light, what are you prohibited from doing? Driving through. So you can understand the red light shows a duty not to do something. Okay? Shows a duty not to do something. Very few people understand this. But on the highway, there's a speed limit. You knew that. Everybody knows that. But you know that there's a minimum speed? Okay. So you have to go beyond that speed. You can say, well, I was going 5 miles an hour. How can I be ticketed? Because there's a duty that requires this and that prohibits this. So you cannot go faster in some expressways than 55, and you can't go slower than 30. Okay? If you're going lower than 30, I'm not going to wait for the police officer. I'm going to be with my horn right on your back, right? I'm going to be kind of bothering you and stuff like that. So a duty can either require you to do something or prohibit you from doing something. So a duty. But for negligence to take place, there must be a breach of that duty. When you let the goal in, you breached your duty, right? Okay? You're not like Luongo, which is a different sport, who's there, and last night he lost the game. I'm sorry to say that. But his job is the same as yours, not to let anything behind him. And when he does, he's breached that duty. So for negligence, there must be a breach of the duty. You either did something you weren't supposed to do, like take a red light, or you did something that the law prohibit you from doing. Breach. Once that has happened, everybody's going to think you're negligent. Once that has happened, everybody's going to think that you're negligent. But there is no reason to sue you yet. I can't sue you just because you were negligent. What else do I need in order for me to sue you?
Damage you caused.
I must be injured somehow, right? Let's say that I'm standing at the light and I see you taking the light, and I'm just standing there. Can I sue you for taking that light?
Of course.
No, because nothing's happened to me. So, in order for there to be a cause of action, in order for me to sue you, I must be injured somehow. Okay? There must be some damages that I can claim. Now, let me ask you this. You had a duty to stop at the red light. You took the red light. I was watching you do that on television. And because I am a really weird person, I had a heart attack watching you take that red light. Can I now sue you? I've had damages. Can I sue you? Does society want me to sue you? Do all of you want me to sue him because I had a heart attack watching him take a red light on the television? You know that you want to say no, right? You know that you want to say no. Why do you want to say no, other than the fact that you like him?
Mister, could it be the fact also that what a coincidence that you're the guy that we're watching? What if it was someone else?
Well, you see, there was a duty he had to stop, and there was a breach of duty, and I had some damages. But what do you want? And you're all intelligent people, and that's why you're having a problem with it. Because you know, and the beautiful thing about negligence is that what I am doing now is I am illustrating things that you already know. You hadn't categorized them, and I'm categorizing them for you. But you already knew that. And you already know that I can't sue him. Why can't I sue him? Because what?